Morning. So day 5 of this week. It's the last of this little run of draw along Insta lives. I'll do a bunch more, but anyway, for this time, it's the last bunch. Sorry, that's a bit boring with the blank thing. That's the picture we're going to draw today. Morning, Jared. I'm still standing up on my stool, so I can actually. Hi, Pip. Hi, Megan. I can actually say hi, Carol. I won't keep doing that because I watched an Insta live once where the guy just constantly commented on who was joining, and I was so bored. It's like, stop talking to the people that are joining. Anyway, I'm standing up on my stool still because I don't get to show you my setups. I'm just going to bend my bendy thing. So that's the actual equipment setup that I've got. So I've got my watercolour and stuff. The door, the easel. I'll show my studio. It's still a hot mess because, boy, the cleaning out. Holy crap. I've got like literally, I will just show you what I found last night. Boarding passes from all the travelling I used to do working in fashion. Look at them. And some tickets to some shows, but mostly boarding passes. Pretty much, I think I've got pretty much every boarding pass that I, for every things. Oh, Mona. Anyway, that's boring as well, but I'm going through that level of stuff, basically. So this morning, I think that's back in frame, isn't it? Yeah. And I just, I don't like to see the edge of the table because, yeah, okay. So this morning, I chose a picture that is definitely more challenging than a lot because it's a face. It's more than a face. It's an upper body as well. The face is not in a normal position. It's tilting back, and it's also a 3/4 view. And there's not one but two hands in it. So there, it could be intimidating for some people, but if you're drawing it, don't be intimidated. Just go for it. Go for it even more. And what you can always do is look at any picture that you draw like a photographer who will crop and frame things. You can crop it down to just what you want to draw. You can leave the hands out if that's going to sort of ruin your morning joy. You know, just because it's there doesn't mean you have to draw it, because no one's going to be comparing the picture to your drawing later, right? They're just going to look at the drawing. So, but at the same time, it's just a morning sketch. It doesn't matter if it's, quote, rubbish. It's just to start the day in a nice way. So I'll put her over to here. So one thing you want to think of, if you are going to draw the whole thing, be aware of the size of the head in relation to the what's down here, because there's actually quite a bit of space taken up by this gorgeous garment with this beautiful sort of voluminous sleeve. So the tendency would be to draw the face a lot bigger because that's what we really focus on. So as always, visualize it on the page before you start, but maybe you do want to focus on that anyway and not let that be bigger. So these are all choices that you get to make, basically. So I'm going to start with the shape of the skin of the face that I can see, and that'll be my sort of anchor. Trying to remember to press more heavily than I normally would when I'm mapping out my stuff. What a tropical morning, huh? If you're in Melbourne, it's really humid and warm. Might be a bit early for kind of facial features on this. Look at the angle of things. Sit the pencil on the printout if you've got a printout. I'm just kind of doing this to help me judge if my shape of that is right. I can already see that there's not enough space between the eyebrow and the eye. But yeah, anyway, that's definitely getting too sort of micro. So I'm going to pull back from that again. So break that, break the turban down into shapes. And of course I'm giving her an extra long neck because I can't help myself. It's begging for it. Which would mean I'll need to pull this down. So I'm just going to come back up to the face because I just want to make sure I'm happy with the shape of my face or whatever, because I'm going to use it as the anchor then to draw the hands. Because anyone who's done my classes will know we draw the hands first if they're touching the face, like before the arm and stuff. It's a really foreshortened mouth, so if you're drawing it, make sure that you really cut down that other side of the mouth. I gave her a slightly more upturned mouth because, you know, it's a beautiful day, etc. that's the mouth, and I can draw this hand. And then once I've started that off, I'm just going to do the overall shape for the hand, because that's what you do. And then that hand has to appear before we can draw the other one, because the other one is anchored on this one. So you start with the contact points. Check the size of that. Possibly slightly large. I kind of like large hands in a drawing though. I like them much more than small hands. I always look a bit scared. I think that's kind of enough to put some darker lines on. I'm just going to hold it up to myself, that'll do. Remember always when you're working on a table, I stand when I draw, so I get a higher perspective over sort of what I'm drawing, but you do need to kind of hold it up, because you're getting a warped perspective of it, and that's why often it can look different when you scan it in or whatever. Okay, so I take off the excess grey lead. One day I'll be brave like Bill Donovan, and I'll just go straight in with no grey lead pencil. God, that'll be a day to mark it in the diary. I do that with warm-ups, of course, but yeah. I want this to have, in terms of the pencil line work, I want it to have a fairly loose line feel. wonder what is that Djokovic is doing now? Do you ever think that? What he's doing now? Is he having breakfast? Is he hitting tennis ball against the wall in his hotel room? Or is he just thinking about how much he hates Australia? God, what a joke. What an embarrassment of a country. Just couldn't help the red lips things. It can be a bit cliche, but you know, who cares? Wish you could call out through Instagram Live. So if I go out of frame or something, you could actually say, "Oi, you've gone out of frame," or ask a question as I go or something. The line work gets a little bit sort of, a bit monotonous in terms of being the same sort of tone and stuff, but it's all right. Just anything here that you want to strengthen, do it. And then I'm going to paint it with watercolours. So I definitely pictured this getting a bit droopy and messy, but I thought I'd just indicate sort of some of the pattern of the embroidery and stuff. Probably got a little bit too much paint on my brush. Not that I'm planning on doing it intricately or anything, because you don't need to. The good thing about watercolours is that you can reanimate them, so I often keep... Oh, actually, except that one's really yuck. Okay, that one's a bit too old. When I've used paint, I'll often use these little things or shot glasses or whatever, and mix them up in that, and then just keep it aside, sometimes with Glad wrap over it, and then the next time I need that colour, I'll just reanimate it from that. But there is a point where they can just get a bit spotty, I guess you could say. I'm just taking a moment to sort of indicate this pattern, I suppose, for want of a better word, because it is sort of a feature of the picture. It doesn't have to be a feature of the picture when you do it. You can ignore the pattern. I just ignore things that I'm not interested in. I literally don't even see them. But I did quite like it here. But it is a bit time consuming, so it's probably a bit boring to watch. So, right. I think I might work on the colours in the headband, and I'm just going to wet the paper first and then drop some colours in. So there's some of this raspberry red. And there's also, I've got this great set of paints over here, so I always have my colour key so I know what colours I'm choosing. Okay. And then I've got my very special piece of equipment, my piece of kitchen sponge. I'm And I've just softened with a bit of water, but I want to take the excess water out of it now. Although I might actually need a bit, put it back in, because this red paint here is pretty dense. So I don't especially want to sort of touch up the edge of that coloured bit that I just painted, because it'll bleed into it and it's not really the look that I have in mind. So you can go close, but just don't break that barrier. This is not going down very solidly. I kind of pictured this really quite drippy. So let's just let it drip. The wrong bit's dripping. Come on, do it. Duh. Oh well, wasn't actually what I had in mind. Doesn't matter. Got the flaccid brush again. Super annoying. Oh, I forgot the pattern around the neck. Maybe I'll go now to some tone. Some shades of this dark grey. I'll pop some in there. The darkness of that is slightly alarming, but hey, gotta be brave. I don't know if you're thinking, I've wrecked it. Possibly I have. But can you wreck a morning sketch? Well, by definition, not really. I might just take off some of the darkness of that wash. Oops. Okay. Where's a tissue? You don't have to panic too much with watercolours. Oops, except when you bump it into the red lips. So now it's just going to be a red nose. Gypsy. There you go. Okay, where was I? God, it's gone past 8:30. Sorry, it's getting a bit long. Dropping the grey wash on introduced some challenges, I suppose you could say, but that's all right. The question is kind of where to stop with it, because you don't want to turn it into a laboured or detailed picture if that wasn't what you were planning, and it wasn't what I was planning. Oh shit. Oh damn it, just knocked that over. It's getting messy here. Yeah. The eyes were just what I wanted to give some wash to. And I am determined to get that bit of tone on the nose. I just want to indicate that there's that sort of plane of shadow underneath the nose. I think that'll be all right when it dries, because you know watercolour goes lighter when it dries. Anyway. That'll do for now. Oh, it's just all pure professionalism here this morning. So, picture, painting. Oh, and I just dripped the paint that I dropped on it. Okay, I'm going to close off here. I did say I wanted it to be messy and drippy. I've got that all over myself as well now. So I'm just going to see if I can retrieve some of this. And if you want to sort of hear about other runs of InstaLive, I'm going to do the next batch on my Fashion Illustration Masterclass page. Let me know and I can add you to my newsletter or whatever, or not. Have a great Friday and a great weekend. Bye.